you on medium wave only with the news and then comedy with John Inman and friends.
Well, hello again, adoring masses, and welcome to the next show. Tonight we have Jam, a session from 1977, and Joy Division from 1979. Amongst the other star names in the programme, the shower scene from Psycho, Jane Bond and the Undercover Men, Pig Bros, The Swans, Peter Metro, Biz Markie, Slab, The Fall, Ice Cream Tea, Billy Bragg, McCarthy, Mighty Lemon Drops, Bundu Boys, James Brown and New Order. We start there with the current single from the Soup Dragons. Those are the Soup Dragons and Hang 10, and keeping the surfing theme on the programme, the Shantays. El Conquistador, and that comes from the Shantays from the LP Pipeline. I'll read you something now from the sleeve notes. The Shantays have emerged as one of the hottest teen groups in Southern California. Their smash hit single record Pipeline bears witness to their achievement, which is all the more remarkable considering the musical distance they have spanned in a very short time. Jam from our classic session. This is part of the Super Summer Sound Spectacular, and this is from the 2nd of the 5th, 1977, In the City. Hold on, In the City.
About the time they made a face. In a city of 1,000 faces are shining bright, and I'll go to faces of the 25. They wanna say, they're gonna tell ya about the young ideas. You better listen now, you think you've been taught.
The Jam from yesteryear, and that's In the City. And the first card out of the bag tonight comes from B.P. Beasley, writing from Amersham in Bucks. It's addressed to the John Peel Friday night show Mystery Voice spot. And he says, the Mystery Voice is Billy McNeil, Aston Villa manager. You're a winner, BP. A prize is on its way to you. This is New Order, Paradise. Stars of Strange Fruit Records, that's New Order, and from the LP Brotherhood on Factory, of course, that's Paradise. In tomorrow night's programme, we originally booked the Weeds, but they kind of split asunder prior to coming to the studio, so we've got a session from Andrew Berry and friends and a session from Billy Bragg as well. This is our classic session from Joy Division, much requested, of course, Exercise 1. Does end very suddenly, that Joy Division and Exercise 1 from their classic session, and from James Brown and the Mohawks, who actually not credited on the label of the record at all, Fusion Beats.
Everybody over there, get on up. Everybody right there, get into it. Everybody right there, get involved. Everybody just swing.
don't like the way Sally was. Hey, fellas. Yeah, man. Y'all see anything wrong with Sally's wall? No. All right, then. Tell me about it. Got a little woman, be a woman, and let a man be a man. But listen, dig it now. Some people don't like the way Sally was. Hey, fellas. Yeah, man. Y'all see anything wrong with Sally's wall? No. All right, then. Tell me about it. Got a little woman, be a woman, and let a man be a man. Got a little woman, be a woman now, and let a man be a man. Listen. Get on my back. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. And that woman too. Talk about something here.
James Brown and the Mohawks, apparently that is. Anyway, it's obviously James Brown. Fusion Beats, that's called, and it's on the reverse of. Removes record from turntable, moves away from microphone, returns to microphone, studies other side of label. Flash It to the Beat by Flash and the Furious Five, recorded live, it says, on Bozo Miko Records. These are the Mighty Lemon Drops and Take Me Up.
I've been dropping for so long, I can't remember up from down. Anything that can will go wrong every time I hit the ground. Tell me what it takes to make you feel. Tell me what it takes to make you bleed. Take me up when I'm down on my knees. Take me up, bring me round, baby, please. All my fingers are undone, everything's a side to side. I'm always waiting for someone, baby, take me for a ride. Tell me what it takes to push you in. Tell me what it takes to break your skin. Take me up when I'm down on my knees. Take me up, bring me round, baby, please. Take me up, been down so long. Take me up, goes on and on and on and on. And tell me what it takes to make you feel. Tell me what it takes to make you bleed. Take me up when I'm down on my knees. Take me up, bring me round, baby, please. Take me up when I'm down on my knees. Take me up, bring me round, baby, please. Take me up, been down so long. Take me up, goes on and on and on and on and on.
Mighty Lemon Drops, that comes from the LP on Blue Guitar Records through Chrysalis, Happy Head, and that was called Take Me Up. Still haven't found that tape which I was sent of Adrian Sherwood's tribute to Kenny Dalglish, but I shall keep looking. Another major search this weekend. In the meantime, this is some of his work with Fats Comet and St. Che. Be my ...
Power station. Power station.
Bodies lay stretched out.
Feeling wild, feeling wild.
I want you to get this, I want you to get this, beloved. I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be ready.
Power station.
Bodies lay stretched out.
I'm coming to bite you, baby. Gonna bite you.
I'm gonna be ready.
Power station.
Such a fool. One step, baby. One step through. Yes, be my is heavy. Never trespass on my time. Be mine.
Power station.
Bodies lay stretched out.
Feeling wild.
Power station.
Baby, be my guardian. Angel.
Bodies lay stretched out.
Feeling wild.
Trouble comes, baby. Guardian. Be mine.
Power station.
I'm coming to bite you, baby. Gonna bite you. Right? Ooh.
Just let's
Power station.
be mine, be mine, be mine. Would you please?
Power station.
Bodies lay stretched out.
Feeling wild. Feeling wild.
Power station.
I want you to get this, beloved.
Trouble comes, be mine, be mine.
Power station.
I'm gonna be ready.
Power station.
I'm gonna be ready.
Feeling wild. Feeling wild. Feeling wild. Feeling wild.
I just hope there's a 12-inch which goes on for hours and hours and hours and hours. That's St. Che and Be My, produced by Adrian Shu.
Radio 1 News.
10:30, Steve Annett reporting. President Reagan and Mr. Gorbachev are to meet in Reykjavik, the capital of Iceland, for 2 days of talks the weekend after next. Mr. Reagan has said the purpose of the meeting is to prepare for a full summit later in the United States. Our Washington correspondent David McNeil.
The announcement of a 2-day summit on neutral territory came as a complete surprise. The United States had been awaiting word from Moscow on a date for a meeting on American soil. Instead, the Russians came up with a new suggestion, the Americans agreed to it, and the two leaders will meet in Reykjavik only 3 weeks after the idea was first proposed. The American Secretary of State, Mr. Schultz, told reporters that Mr. Gorbachev had suggested a preparatory meeting along somewhat less formal lines than a summit, so the two leaders could push the ball along a little bit in some of the areas that show the most promise. And the more the United States thought about it, the more it seemed like a sensible idea.
The announcement of the Iceland meeting coincided with the news that the Americans were not proceeding with spying charges against Gennady Zakharov, the Soviet UN official. He left Washington tonight on a plane for Moscow. President Reagan says there's no connection between his release and that from Moscow yesterday of the American journalist Nick Danilov. The Americans say he's being exchanged for a leading Soviet dissident, Yuri Orlov. Today's other headlines: the Labour leader Neil Kinnock has made a hard-hitting speech at the Blackpool conference. He called the government mean and malicious and reaffirmed Labour's commitment to NATO. The Director of Public Prosecutions is preparing papers for the extradition from France of the Sheffield lawyer Ian Wood. He's wanted in connection with the deaths of his girlfriend and her young daughter. Sealink and Channel Island Ferries are to form a new company to run services to the islands. It'll mean the loss of nearly 500 jobs. And that's it for now. There's a news update on Radio 1 at midnight.
Nai baba tiranga ndikomba muno. Saita seko mwanangu. Tiri vatatuka. Ini baba wako 1, mai vako 2, neweka wechitatu. Na baba mdiki Francis. Baba mdini Francis vapisha. Vanangoya kana musipo. Baba mnene oye, Baba mnene Francis, Baba baby. Baba mnene oye, Baba mnene Francis, Baba baby. Mazaine chiwo, suvanesu. Kuchika kwenu mumbamuno mupunganeu. Mazaine chiwo, suvanesu. Zvipfeko zvako mdzimai zvezvene kuko mudzipemu zvandinotenga. Zvipfeko zvako mdzimai zvezvene kuko mudzipemu zvandinotenga. Wakanga washeiko mumba muno. Baba mnene Francis, Baba baby. Wakanga washeiko mudzimai wangu. Baba mnene Francis, Baba baby. Baba mnene oye, Baba mnene Francis, Baba baby. Baba mnene oye, Baba mnene Francis, Baba baby. Zvipfeko zvako mdzimai zvezvene kuko mudzipemu zvandinotenga. Zvipfeko zvako mdzimai zvezvene kuko mudzipemu zvandinotenga. Wakanga washeiko mumba muno. Baba mnene Francis, baba ne kutaura unonetsa mukau shava. 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 Baba kutaura unonetsa mukau shava. Baba ne kutaura unonetsa mukau shava. Baba kutaura unonetsa mukau shava. Baba ne kutaura unonetsa mukau shava. Baba kutaura unonetsa mukau shava. Baba ne
Top entertainment from the Bundu Boys, and that's Baba Manini Francis. We're back to the first track on side one of the LP. I shall work my way through it several times, I don't doubt. The LP Shabini on Disc Freak, and the review of an LP from To Damascus. I played you one track from this already, an LP, mini LP in fact, called Succumb, but in the latest edition of Maximum Rock and Roll from America, the one from October of this year, it reads thus: New wave delivered with punk energy, as many wave bands were doing in the early days, but the female singer and keyboards put me off, as well as the rock wave arrangements and slick production. A bit unfair, I think. Slick production, I wouldn't have said so. That's To Damascus, and they come from somewhere in America. I forget exactly where, to be honest. Slam Den, that is, though, from an LP on... hold on, I should have checked all this beforehand. Let's have a look and see what it is. On Ringent Records, that's right. This is from Joy Division, Inside. Joy Division from January 1979. This eventually will be coming out on one of those Strange Fruit EPs, incidentally. That's called Insight. And there's an EP from Pink Records, which features tracks from the Wolfhounds, Rumblefish, Jamie Wednesday, and McCarthy, which will be in your shop shortly as well. From it, this is In Purgatory. From a forthcoming Pink Records sampler, McCarthy, and that's called In Purgatory. And from Billy Bragg from the current LP, leaping up the charts, I'm advised. Greetings to the New Brunette.
Shirley, it's quite exciting to be sleeping here in this living. Shirley, you're my reason to get out of bed before noon. Shirley, you know when we sat out on the fire escape talking. Shirley, what did you say about running before we were walking? Sometimes when we're as close as this, it's like we're in a dream. How can you lie there and think of England when you don't even know who's in the team? Shirley, sexual politics has left me all of a muddle. Shirley, we're joined in the ideological cuddle. I'm celebrating my love for you with a pint of beer and a new tattoo. And if you haven't noticed yet, I'm more impressionable when my cement is wet. Politics and pregnancy are divided as we empty our glasses. How I love those evening classes. Shirley, you really know how to make a young man angry. Shirley, can we get through the night without mentioning family? The people from your church agree it's not much of a career trying the handles of parked cars. Oops, there goes another year. Oops, there goes another pint of beer. trees if I was your old man and you was my missus. Give my greetings to the new brunette. My greetings to the new brunette.
And before that, Billy Bragg, and greetings to the new brunette from the Jam Art School.
What the people? Everything that you want to do, and any place that you want to go, only permission for everything that you want. Feeling right, where any clothes is as long as it's bright. See what you want, cause this is a new high school. See what you want if you change your mind. You better do it now, cause you won't have time. And never worry if people laugh at you. The fools only laugh cause they ever you. Hey! Hey, hey, hey! And the hands are fast. Young ones are mowing in the always fast. It's up to us to make sure they understand. Who is the judge that your ways are correct? Who makes the rules that make people select? The media is watched on the statue crack. The TV telling you what to think. Yeah, everything that you want to do, and any place that you want to go. Don't need permission for everything that you want. The feel is right. We're in the clothes just as long as it's bright. Say what you want, cause this is a new art school. Hey, do what you want, cause this is a new art school. Yeah, say what you want, cause this is a new art school.
The Jam from 1977, and that's Art School. And this is from the Fall, from the LP, which I'm sure most of you own by now already. Shoulder Pad number 1.
Years gone to my surprise, for all the Michaelac stayed home, picking antiques and closes, cozy flecked with green bits, made on the coral white tomatoes. My powers against them half useless, my senses are like half-hearted. But stuck with them, walk at shoulder down street ridicule. They couldn't tell Louis from the view. Suppressed hate romance. It was like being back at school. Less a tunnel defeat. Their mom had a coup d'etat. Realized what they always wanted. Knew I was right all along. It was them of Beatles-song, superhero and Harlequin cats. Them wet lecture, half bread, kissing black singers, 10 years dead.
Shoulder pad number 1 from the Fall from the LP Ben Sinister. There is, of course, a shoulder pad number 2 on the LP, you won't be too surprised to learn. And if you were listening to the programme on Monday night, the debut session from Slab, not Monday night, Monday last week, a debut session from Slab, and this is their debut single, Mars on Ice. And that's a 12-inch on Ink Records, the first release from Slab, and it's called Mars on Ice. I have to apologise, actually, for the programme up until now. I'll tell you exactly what happened. Somebody from a national Sunday newspaper came to see me earlier this evening, and we went round to the wine bar, and she was a most amusing and amiable woman, and we sat there talking, and my friend William joined us, and then about 8:45, she said, look, can I come along to the programme? Well, I always try and talk people out of this, because when people come along to the programme that you don't know particularly well, and they sit in the studio, it's almost as though somebody had interposed their body between you and the microphone. It always makes me feel very self-conscious and uncomfortable. And I always say to them, it's really boring, because it is boring. It's not a spectator sport. It's like watching somebody typing, as I always point out, which isn't the most riveting thing in the world. And but she wouldn't be persuaded of this. And my chum William disappeared when we got to just outside the BBC, because he knows what it's like. Occasionally comes along, but he knows that it makes you feel slightly uncomfortable. But she came along, and I said to her, because there's a shift change at 10:30, I said, look, when there's a shift change, you've probably seen enough now, you want, no, I'll stay till midnight. So she's sitting there on the sofa taking notes as I become more and more monosyllabic, and eventually I had to say, look, I hope you don't think I'm being awfully rude, but I find it actually very difficult to do. So anyway, I apologise for the first 65 minutes of the programme, which, as I say, have been uninformative, certainly, although I hope the music's been all right. This is Danielle Dax, Where the Flies Are. That's Danielle Dax and Where the Flies Are. I feel much easier now, I must say. Terribly neurotic, really, but how these people cope who have, like, dozens of people in the studio when they're doing the programme, or people looking at them through the glass, I really don't know. And these are the Relations from Perth in Scotland. That's not the one in Australia, as one or two people have made the mistake in the past. Brainwashed and blow-dried.
Lovely but underage, God made the world. Nonsense to me. Fools in high places don't make mistakes like that. And when dreams pass you by with sweat and tongue-tied, I'll wait with bated breath. Here comes the devil in me. Let's take a look, ice cream for me. What flavor turns you on? It's understood, my turn. Let's leave this town, let's do it now. Further away from here, further away from here. And when dreams pass you by, where are you now? I cried, I'll wait with bated breath. Here comes the devil in me. Tower of strength, tower of sand, cowardly custard and sold all books for sins. Brought you up well, it doesn't show. Happy as pigs in love, fed with an empty spoon. And when dreams pass you by, brainwashed and blow dry, I'll wait with bated breath. Here comes the devil in me.
That was the Human Orchestra featuring TJ Swan, and it's called Make the Music with Your Mouth Biz. Back to Joy Division, She's Lost Control.
Confusion in her eyes that says it all. She's lost control, and she's clinging to the nearest passerby. She's lost control, and she gave away the secrets of her past and said, I've lost control again. And of a voice that told her when and where to act, she said, I've lost control again.
I would say very possibly the most sought-after session of all of those that have ever been broadcast on the programmes that I've introduced for Radio 1 over the last 19 years. Yes, it's our birthday. Joy Division, and She's Lost Control. And now a track from the LP from the Swans, Holy Money. This is Fool number 2. Every Thursday morning, you know, the nation's number one, they have these meetings where they listen to all of the new records and sit down and decide why they shouldn't play perfectly good pop records like the Wooden Tops and the Shop Assistants and stuff like that in favour of lots of lads with haircuts like Ian Botham. And I'd love to take a Swans record along to it and just sit there and say, you know, this is just a really... I think we should be playing this on the daytime programmes just to watch their faces. I doubt if I'd get out of the room alive, to be honest. A debut session from Andrew Berry, who was once of the Weeds, but then seconds before they came into the studio to record a session for us, they went their separate ways. And I think the Weeds themselves, or people retaining the name, came down to London and have got a new band going. So I may be quite wrong about this. This is sort of like hearsay, so don't quote me on it. Don't sue me, more importantly. And also a session from Billy Bragg. And if you missed that the first time round, good stuff. This is from the Jam from, years ago. I've changed my address. You know, I can't remember the Jam ever really sounding like that. That's from their classic session, part of our Super Summer Sound Spectacular. I think we're either going to have to stop this or think of another name for it, and that's I've Changed My Address. And this is one of these nights when I really need to go to somebody's house around the corner and spend most of the night listening to new records, because a pile of stuff has come in. My mum doesn't have a record player, see, this is the part of the problem. There's a mini LP here, issued in Germany by Constrictor, featuring 1,000 violins, which is going to be made available in this country pretty darn soon, called Please Don't Sandblast My House, which I've not yet had the chance to hear. That's the sleeve. Me banging the record there. and doubtlessly tracks from that in tomorrow night's programme. On the same label, though, or from the same association, Dream World, this is Jane Bond with the Undercover Men, Confidential Story.
Five-year-old mother. Have you heard the story about the frog-faced boy? He only eats flies and has a bone for a toy. Do you know that UFOs have been seen at around Elvis's gravesite? Do you know in New Mexico they use silver bullets in mural fights? Do you have the facts about the CIA zombies atomically created? Chemically bonded. Have you heard the rumors of the miracle cures suppressed by corporate economic fears? Do you know about the alien bodies kept in the desert on an Air Force base? Don't you want to know the confidential story how the Russians found life in outer space? Confidential story. Don't you want to know? Confidential story. Wouldn't print it if it wasn't so. Confidential story. Don't you want to know? Confidential story. Wouldn't print it if it wasn't so. Raised by snakes in the Amazon jungle. Tell me, do you know about the cannibal joke? Or the pregnant nun and the cloning of the Pope? Do you think that JFK really died or they just hid him away? Did you know that Jackie O's secret lover owns Mexico? Confidential story, scientists discover fire is a liquid but they keep it undercover. Confidential story, recently learned Marilyn Monroe had a sex change turn. Don't you want to know? Confidential story. Wouldn't print it if it wasn't so. Confidential story. Don't you want to know? Confidential story. Wouldn't print it if it wasn't so. Confidential story. Don't you want to know? Confidential story. Wouldn't print it if it wasn't so. Confidential story. Don't you want to know? Confidential story. Wouldn't print it if it wasn't so. Confidential story. Don't you want to know? Confidential story. Wouldn't print it if it wasn't so. Confidential story. Don't you want to know? Confidential story. Wouldn't print it if it wasn't so. Confidential story. Don't you want to know? Confidential story. If it wasn't so. Confidential story. Don't you want to know? Confidential story. Print it if it wasn't so. Confidential story. Don't you want to know? Confidential story. Print it if it wasn't so. Confidential story. Don't you want to know?
Selling by the truckload, I hope. That's from the LP Politically Correct, Jane Bond and the Undercover Men from Dream World Records, Confidential Story. And from Pig Bros, this is a record which actually I've had for about a week now and haven't played. I've got no reason for this at all. It's excellent stuff, as you'll hear in just a moment. This is called Cheap Life. Not in the shops yet, I understand. Impending from Pig Bros, that's called Cheap Life, a 12-inch single. And the last from Joy Division from their, I'm not going to say classic session again, I dare not, but the last from this session anyway. When it was recorded, this was known as Transmissions.